Hey. Welcome back. It's been a long time that we've been up here, but we're back for season 6. I'm your host, Jazzy Jane. We're back with something for the culture. And tonight we have Ronnie Bo as our guest. Welcome to the culture.
What's good? What's good?
Good. Can you please tell the folks who you are for people that are not familiar of, who you are and where you came from?
Ronnie Bo from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm a book author, songwriter, recording artist, son of God. Uh, about it.
Okay. All right. So also, people are not also familiar of um, who you are as Ronnie Bo. He actually spent time locked up with R. Kelly. Um, Now, I want to jump right into that. So, can you tell us the time frame that you were actually incarcerated with him?
I was in MCC Chicago from June 24th, 2019 until May 19th, 2021. And R. Kelly came there like a month after me, probably a month or two. So he came in probably July of 2019 or August of 2019, and he was there. Even when I left, he was still there. So it was probably about 21 months we was at MCC Chicago together.
Okay. So, how did you two get, well, I guess, run into each other?
We first ran into each other in the medical unit. Uh, they just so happened to call him down and me down at the same time. I was on unit 15 at the time, and he was on unit 19. And we both got a medical call at the same time, and that's when we first, crossed paths.
Okay. So from that point on, kind of take us through the course of y'all relationship from the time of you meeting from in that medical ward.
Uh, I was one of the guys who was trying to get him on general population, because when he first came in, he was on what y'all know as protective custody because of his stardom and because of his case. In the feds, pedophiles and snitches really ain't safe on general population. So, it was a security risk. But I was one of the guys sending notes and just trying to put in a word for him to get him on general population because, for one, I really never believed that he was guilty. And two, I'm a book author. So I wanted my third book to be about R. Kelly and his side of the story, to combat basically the narrative of the Surviving R. Kelly docuseries.
Okay. So at what point in y'all interaction or relationship rather did come to the he felt he can confide in you information about his situation?
Well, I embraced him as soon as I met him in the medical unit. My lady friend, this lady, Kayla, I was talking to at the time, had just wrote me like a couple days before I seen him saying, I heard my baby R. Kelly in there with you, tell him I said hi and I love him. She was a fan or whatever. So that was the first thing that I mentioned, when I, met him basically and embraced him. Just told him, man, people out here love you. My own girlfriend basically told me tell you she love you. You know what I mean? He laughed. We both laughed about that together. And from there, we just had small talk. Then I asked him to sing "Heaven I Need a Hug," and I sung along with him just to let him know that I was a fan too, and that I knew some of his music word for word.
Okay. So there was some things discussed between y'all two. Now you said that you felt like he was innocent. Tell us why you felt like that.
Man, it's kind of obvious, especially with me. I got framed in a Fed case. That's why I was there. I got framed as a member of a drug trafficking organization, and I just know how they work. From my own experience. You know, in my case, they got my significant other to sell out and lie on me and say that I had her selling drugs and she was going to Chicago to buy large quantities of cocaine and heroin for me and bring it back to Milwaukee, and I had her taking this to drug dealers and had her selling it. At first she said something totally different, but eventually I guess they broke her and scared her into they probably threatened her with some time or something and scared her into submission. So me seeing R. Kelly's situation and knowing that a lot of his scenario allegedly happened 20 and 30 years ago, it's like why y'all just now saying this then? You know what I'm saying? What happened in between this time to make all y'all just come out around the same time and say he was locking me in the basement and starving me for 3 days, and uh I was 16 and he made me do this and that. Shit just don't even make sense. Like, why you didn't say nothing when you was 15 or 16 if that's when it's happened? You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, and me knowing how the industry work, we all hear these what they call conspiracy theories.
Mhm.
You know, a lot of it don't even be conspiracy theories. A lot of it be true. So, with R. Kelly reaching the pinnacle, going as high as you could go in that industry,
Mhm.
he's somebody firsthand who would know. So, of course, I wanted to ask him about, just allegations and things you hear about people going through in that industry or any industry where you become an icon or a celebrity. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
he reached that status, so he would know. If anybody else knew. You know what I mean? And he kind of confirmed a lot of things, and that's basically the reason why they came after him. He a stand up guy. In his own words, as he would say it, I just can't do certain things because of the God I serve. A lot
Mhm.
of people in that industry they don't serve the God that he and I serve. So they willing to do some very ignoble things, as far as selling your soul or whatever. And R. Kelly went with that, you know what I mean? So because he went with that and he wanted his $1 billion catalog, which he rightfully deserved to have,
Mhm.
they did what they did.
So I know he has said some things about some certain people. I know he named Jay Z having a hand or rather playing a part in his whole situation. Can you tell us anything about what he confided in you about Jay Z and having playing a part in his situation?
Man, put it, put it simple, in simple terms, Jay-Z is sellout basically. He a puppet. He a government puppet. He an industry puppet. They use him to have younger artists or upcoming artists who want to be in his position or want to be in the spotlight. They use him to convince them to basically sell their soul. And he very influential to our culture. I used to look up to Jay-Z until I learned what type of person he really is through R. Kelly. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, if it's anything in particular, I mean that you probably heard from one of my other interviews that you want to know, I guess we can go more in depth in that. But To sum it up
Mm-hmm.
and make it simple, he basically said Jay-Z is sellout.
Now, I also heard that he had a huge part in his documentary, the Surviving R. Kelly
Yeah.
situation. Can you tell us anything about that?
Well, the lady Dream Hampton, who is the executive producer of the Survivor R. Kelly docuseries, basically she used to date Jay-Z for one, and to this day they still like business partners, and Jay-Z fund basically everything that she ever did in her career, even the political stuff she did as far as when she was trying to protest in Ferguson, Jay-Z funded her for that. She wrote Jay-Z book Decoded. Of course he funded that. That was his project, but it was really her project because she the one devised it. And it's just obvious if he funded everything else that she do and she come out with Surviving R. Kelly, it's just obvious that he funded that too. And he got his reasons. Him and R. Kelly had a fallout on the Best of Both Worlds tour when him and Jay-Z was touring together. And what ensued from that is R. Kelly ended up suing him for like $70 million. So
Mm-hmm.
you know that's that'll create obvious conflict. Which it did, and you know people be spiteful about stuff like that. So if your business partner come with this brilliant idea to say, let's put this docu series out and help Sony and them, ruin his reputation. We'll win favoritism with these billionaires over here at Sony by doing this because they don't really want to give R. Kelly his catalog, his $1 billion catalog right now. So I think this would be a good business move for us, and it'll be a good way to get revenge. You know what I mean?
So, when you spoke to him, because I mean, he did marry Aaliyah, who was underage. She was not an adult when he wedded that girl. Did
Of
he
course.
speak?
Ooh, where you hear that from?
Well, when they did the interview a couple of years back, I think she was what, 16, and they were already married.
Yeah, that was a publicity stunt by her uncle, Barry Hankerson.
Okay.
It was a publicity stunt. Of course, R. Kelly was in on it. It wasn't his idea because he didn't benefit from that publicity stunt. Barry Hankerson did because Aaliyah was his niece. He was her manager. And it's just like if I'm a star and you not, and I marry you, you become a star, right?
Correct.
All right, so I mean that's what that was. It was a publicity stunt. There's no real documentation, no marriage license, certificate, none of that. I mean, and the license that they allegedly produced didn't have his signature or her signature on there. So that's not no marriage license. You know what I mean? It's not real.
Hmm.
What marriage license don't have a signature on it? You know what I mean?
Correct.
So yeah, that was a publicity stunt though. He didn't marry her. I mean, I bet he probably regret participating in the publicity stunt now because this helps the narrative of
Right.
saying that he a pedophile. You know what I mean? But man, we just got a lot of hypocrites in the world and in our culture because even me, admittedly, if I see a sexy ass 19-year-old, you know what I mean, I might I might fuck her. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I don't know if I can cuss on your show, but I'm
Yeah,
just
you can cuss.
and with me, you know what I'm saying? I'm not no arrogant, cocky person, but females might find me attractive.
Hmm.
Now, a lot of men my age or R. Kelly age, they can't appeal to a 19-year-old. You know what I mean? So it's easy for them to say, "Oh, R. Kelly a pedophile because he fucking a 19, 20-year-old. You know, both of his girlfriends was like 19 or 20 at the time.
But I mean, a 19 and 20-year-old, they're adults. So
Yes,
there's that.
but that's, I mean, there's no proof that he fucked the underage girl. It's proof that he had two 19, 20-year-old girlfriends. I mean, a lot of men his age, that's like if he was anybody else, you know what I mean, that people would look up to that like, wow, he could still get these young girls, you know what I'm saying? But because R. Kelly is a star, you know what I'm saying, people look at him the way that the media want them to look at him. You know what I mean? But you know, we all like what we like, you know. But the fact of the matter is, whether most men admit it or not, if they was able to fuck these sexy ass Instagram models who 19, 20, you know what I'm saying? Some of them might even look younger, you know what I mean? But if they was able to do what R. Kelly was able to do, they'd do it. And even the females is hypocrites because I know females, you know, I'm a honest guy. I grew up around when I was 14, the females who was in my class was dating fucking dudes who was 28. You know what I mean? And most females know that. I don't know your past, your history, but pretty sure when you was a teenager, it was guys probably 10 years older than you trying to talk to you. And even if you didn't do it, it was some of your peers was fucking with these older dudes. So it's not like it's not common. It is common. It's just most people try to hide these type of scenarios. And because R. Kelly is being framed as the, this pervert or pedophile, you know what I mean? People want to point the finger at him when they doing the same shit, you know what I'm saying? And or worse, you know what I mean? And they don't even know if he really did it or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it really was no proof. If you look into his case like I did, I got all the transcripts. It was no proof of none of this. And that's, you know, that's the facts. All that surviving R. Kelly shit is speculation, allegation, and most of them females on there was coerced and trained and coached to give the statements and scenarios that they articulated in that whole series.
So let's take it back for a minute. So before the Aaliyah, let's take it back to the actual tape, where the alleged girl in the video was Sparkle's niece or whoever. Did he say anything about that tape coming out, whether, you know, that was him or whether that took place, whether she was underage or what?
No, it wasn't my place to ask him too many personal questions. You know, most of our conversations was entertaining, humorous. You know, I did ask about industry operations and do this type of stuff happen, and you know, I was trying to help him with his case. You know what I'm saying? So it was certain things he would open up to me about with regards to his case, or you know, his situation with Aaliyah. He barely wanted to open up about. You know, he told me certain things, but you know, Jay-Z was a topic we discussed, but I wouldn't even felt right asking him, was that you on that tape? Because we in an environment, you know, in MCC Chicago is pre-trial. Most people there haven't even got their time yet. We all in federal custody fighting federal cases. You know what I mean? And usually when you get your time, they ship you right out of there. So nobody want to
Right.
open up about an open case. You know what I mean? And there was an incident while we was there where El Chapo nephew, he had opened up to somebody he shouldn't open up to, and while he was probably only gonna get 5 years, he got 25 years because something he told another inmate. And you know, R. Kelly was well aware of that, and you know, I mean, I wouldn't expect him to trust me, and I wouldn't. I'm sorry about that. I put my
Oh,
phone.
you're fine.
I put it on D&D. I don't know how somebody's able to still call, but yeah, I mean, he was very defensive about certain things, and he had reasons. Everybody who he ever embraced or took under his wings turned against him and was out to get him for his money. You know what I mean? So you just meet me in prison, like, why would you open up to me about certain things? But no, we ain't discuss nothing about that tape though.
Now, I know he has spoken about this elite group of people that are behind this entire situation trying to take him down. Did he mention anything of that to you as far as he feels like he's being a scapegoat for anything?
Yeah, I mean, I done did enough name dropping in most of my other interviews, so I mean, I don't want to keep just exposing all these people, but if you could read between the lines, back in the day, it was a guy in the industry who came on to Tupac,
Mm-hmm.
and Tupac was he ended up having sexual relations with this guy daughter.
Mm-hmm.
You can look it up or watch the movie, read the articles, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But the same guy ended up coming on to R. Kelly, and before Tupac demise or faked his death or whatever he did before he disappeared, he warned R. Kelly. According to R. Kelly, Tupac warned him and told him, "Look, be careful because they gonna come for you too." You know what I mean? And they did. Like I said, R. Kelly is a man of God, and in his words, because of the God he served, there's certain things he wouldn't do. A lot of people who y'all probably would never even imagine done had to do some very degrading things as a man. You know what I'm saying? They
Mm-hmm.
probably got fucked in the ass, probably had to some of the shit I don't even won't come out of my mouth, but just know that R. Kelly is one of the stand up guys who wasn't willing to do all that.
So let's talk about his wife, Drea Kelly, because she took part in that documentary as well, and has been very open about her supposedly privy to some things that she saw herself. Um, do you think, or has he mentioned if there's any truth to that, or what does he have to say about his own wife taking part in the documentary?
Well, of course, she wasn't really important to him at that point of his life, and it's females who not important to me who are very spiteful because things didn't go the way that they hoped and wished.
Mm-hmm.
You know, our relationship would have went, and I'm pretty sure if I become a celebrity, celebrity overnight, and you know, half of the girls in the world, desire to have sex with me, and I got all these options. I already got a lot of options, and I already got plenty spiteful females, so I know what he going through, and I know she just another spiteful ass female who let them people get in her ear and say, "Look, you know, you could get paid off this. We understand it. We disappointed in how y'all relationship turned out, but this is the approach you can take to get revenge and get what you intended to get out of that relationship." I mean that happened. I see it in my own experiences. I got spiteful baby mamas. I got just spiteful ex girlfriends who I probably really am guilty of selling them a dream and making them feel like I really like them. I really want to be with them. I'm gonna marry them and commit my life to them. And I didn't really want them. I probably just wanted to fuck them. I'm guilty of that too. And if R. Kelly is guilty of anything, that's all he guilty of. You know, he was a player like me. You know what I mean? Everybody ain't got that in them. You know what I mean? But R. Kelly was a player. You know, he guilty of that. These girls, of course, wanted to be with him because he was a sex symbol and he had money. He was in the spotlight. Most females, I don't know how you is, but most females want somebody like that. And if it don't go the way that they plan, they gonna get spiteful. And if they get an opportunity to get you back, they gonna take advantage of that opportunity. And that's what his wife did.
So what? Because I noticed that you had said earlier that you gave him some advice to kind of help with his situation. What kind of advice did you give him?
I basically just told the man, you know, he was asking me stuff like who is my lawyer and is he good and do I know any good lawyers? And my advice to him was look, bro, this is what I'm doing. I'm researching this law myself. I'm not gonna put my life in the hands of these lawyers. I it would be unwise of me to put my freedom. I was facing like they was trying to give me 11 years. I was facing like 20. You know what I mean? And I'm in my mid 30s. You know, that's a lot of time taken out of my life. You know, I already lost a lot of my youth in the prison system. So my thing was, I'm not gonna put my life in the hands of these lawyers and basically telling him the same thing. Like, bro, if you gonna have to be in here, you need to look up these laws yourself. You know, and you need to be trying to change the narrative because they got the world looking at you like a monster and a pedophile. So, you know, like I kept trying to get him to, you know, basically come into agreement with me to let me narrate his side of the story. You know, that probably would have worked in his best interest, you know. And he probably regret that now because he ended up signing the rights over to his attorney, you know what I mean? Who fucked him over, you know. Me, I'm a stand-up guy with integrity. I'm not getting paid for doing none of this for R. Kelly. And I'm still out here just standing on principles and fighting for what's right. And my approach is this, you know, it's not all about R. Kelly with me. You know what I'm saying? My best friend, his name is Robert Miller. I would rather be doing a free Robert Lamar Miller campaign right now, but who is he to y'all? Y'all don't know him. So y'all wouldn't want to interview me about Robert Lamar Miller. But because I know R. Kelly and his situation is just as unjust as mine was, and I'm speaking out for his situation and on his behalf, people want to hear what I have to say just because he R. Kelly. So my thing is this: if I could bring light to the injustice that the government and the media is doing to him and has done to him, and get justice for him or help bring justice for him, then once that is done and they see how they do or how they did this black man, and then from there I could show how they doing this shit to all of us or most of us. Cause it's a lot of niggas locked up who I got love for and shouldn't be locked up. I really got framed in the case. I did time for a charge I really didn't do. Not that I never sold drugs, but I really didn't sell the drugs that they said I sold. And I really wasn't a part of this drug trafficking organization in Chicago who they said I was a part of. And it's just like R. Kelly. I'm not saying that he wasn't a player and he didn't fuck 1,000 females and he probably didn't get them all the love and affection that they wanted. You know, yeah, he probably guilty of that, but locking them in a basement, like all this extra shit, like why would he have to do that? You know what I'm saying? Like What would somebody like R. Kelly get out of that? You know what I mean? Somebody who could have had any female he wanted. You know what I mean? It don't even make sense. So, you know, my message is read between the lines, wake up, see what they doing to R. Kelly, see what they doing to the majority of black men in America.
So I want to double back with Aaliyah's uncle and the whole publicity stunt. Why haven't they brought his uncle in, well, her uncle in for any type of questioning to basically, help his case if it was a publicity stunt?
He not for R. Kelly. He for the same people that put these schemes together. He the same person who his own niece, he put a $90 million life insurance policy on her, and just read between the lines. Like, he put a $90 million life insurance policy on her. So if she was to die, who was to get the $90 million?
That's crazy.
And he got the $90 million. So I mean, that was his scheme. You know what I mean? Like, these is the type of people we talking about here. These is the real criminals and the people who the public really should be looking at like, damn, he a monster. He evil. Yes, Barry Hankerson is evil. He a monster. R. Kelly, no. But because, they couldn't control him, and he he wondered why he didn't have his $1 billion net worth, and he was, petitioning to get his money. They did him how they did Michael Jackson. They did him how they basically did him how they did Whitney Houston, but instead of killing them, literally they killed him.
Financially.
Not just financially, but they killed his reputation. You know what I'm saying? They just like they tried to kill Tupac reputation when they said he was a rapist, and then they said he got raped in jail. Just how they tried to kill Mike Tyson's reputation when he became this huge icon and said he was a rapist. Just how they tried to kill Kobe Bryant's reputation when he came this huge icon and said he was a rapist. It's a pattern, it's crazy. Like, our people just, like, we don't support our own people. You know what I mean? Like, that shit crazy. We let these racist ass, evil, satanic Europeans put any narrative out there about our people and believe it. When Malcolm X said probably 60 years ago that the media is the most dangerous weapon that the government have, because they have the power to make the innocent look guilty and make the guilty look innocent. Malcolm tried to wake us up 60 years ago, and we still mentally sleep. Like, let's wake up. Let's wake up.
So that brings me to, because you did a song in support of cows. Can you tell us about that song?
Well, I know how influential music is, and by the grace of God, I have the gift of gab. I'm lyrical. I'm talented in that area. So I just wanted to encourage people that it's okay to say free R. Kelly, because I really don't give a fuck what people think about me. But most people, they would feel embarrassed to protest and say free R. Kelly when everybody looking at him like a pedophile or a monster. You know what I'm saying? Like, I done fell out with some of my own lady friends and girlfriends because they seen my interview and said, why is you campaigning for a pedophile? And my approach was like, basically, look, bitch, stay in your place, because you tripping. You don't even know this man. I did time with this man. I know what's really going on. You know what I mean? So that's why, because I know he innocent. You just going off what the media told you. So, the song, I felt like it'd give people the courage to say that I mean, just to make them feel like it's okay to say free R. Kelly and make it fashionable and popular. You know what I'm saying? Because right now, or before I started campaigning for this man, it was like a taboo kind of like, or people just look at it so negative to speak highly about this man. You know what I mean? So I'm doing what I could to change that because I would have hoped when I was fighting for my life and they was trying to frame me as this huge drug dealer. I I was hoping somebody would stand up for me and say, man, he didn't do that. You know what I mean? Even my own family was believing that I did that because I got a past. I got a history for selling drugs since I was a teenager and younger. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
they look at it like, yeah, he did that. You know what I mean? Just like R. Kelly, they created this narrative for him 20 years ago. So it's like, yeah, no, they that's that. But
How how was his spirits in the time period you was incarcerated with him? I mean, did he? I mean, was he down? Was he, just embracing what was going on? Confusion? What?
he was in good spirit, and that's another thing I admire about him because for a man who never been through that, you would think that that would just crush him. Some people, when I was in MCC Chicago, it was at least three people who killed themselves, and these three people, their case wasn't no worse than R. Kelly case, and they definitely didn't have the media back the media the blacklisting and the ridicule and all that R. Kelly had. So to see him, keep a sense of humor, he kept us laughing. There's sometimes we'd just be eating or chopping it up, watching TV, and R. Kelly would just come from out of nowhere singing one of his songs, and everybody would just get to laughing, and he'd get to laugh. You know what I mean? So I salute him for that. He stayed in good spirit, and God gonna always keep his people in good spirit. That's why they say God will never put nothing more on us than we can't handle. And he
Mhm.
handling it. When I was there, he was handling that situation very well.
So, as of right now, they moved him to, um,
Butler, North Carolina.
yeah, they moved him here, um, to Greenville, County. And they're saying that they moved him to a lesser county jail because of the fact he's getting ready to get out. How true do you think that is?
I mean, people just speculate. You know what I mean? There's no truth in that. Yeah, I believe he gonna get out, but just because they moved him to Butler, don't mean they know he gonna get out. I mean, I feel like I know he gonna get out because people starting to come out and support him now, and his attorney Jennifer Bonjean, she know what she doing, and she got Bill Cosby out. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I feel like he gonna get out, but the system, they not going off. Or he got this lawyer, so we're gonna send him somewhere where everybody get out. That's not the case. It's people in Butner who got life still, who never getting out. You know what I mean? So that's
Right.
not true.
Now, since you have been incarcerated with him and, he has moved on to Butler, have you tried to stay in contact with him?
Yeah, he get a lot of mail, and I mean it's hard to balance that. I mean he know I'm campaigning for him, and he done sent messages to people close to him. The lady he was with when they came and got him. Me and her stay in contact, and a few other people who don't want to be mentioned. They receive emails and phone calls from him.
Hmm.
One of them, asked me to allow him to put his message on my song. So we arranged that. But you know, that's we in contact. You know, it's just certain things. You know, I'm being watched because of this. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
By
That's what I was
all
just about to ask you next. Like, are you putting a target on your back because of this? Because I mean, yeah, he's told you this and confide in you these things that he had to, go through and see, but now you're kind of carrying that message out to the masses. Are you putting a target on your back?
was already a target on my back. I mean, they've been targeting me since I was a teenager when I was known as a hood boss. You know what I mean? I had a target on my back then because anytime in America a black man has leadership abilities and some intelligence, you a target. That's why I was framed in a Fed case as a member of a drug trafficking organization. You know, because
Mhm.
I've been on this path. I've been campaigning for my people. You know, I've been had leadership abilities. I've been outspoken. You know, I've been had some wisdom by the grace of God, and I've been a stand up guy. And see, they asked me, they try to coerce me to be a government informant, and I wouldn't do it. Just like they tried to have R. Kelly do stuff he wouldn't do. I just can't do nothing like that. And because they tried to coerce me to do this, I sued them. And 2 weeks after I sued them for trying to force me to be an informant, they filed this indictment against me. You know what I mean? Not just an indictment in Chicago, but they filed one in my hometown in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So
Mhm.
they tried to get me out of there. So I've been a target, but you know, I could have folded, you know, but you know, God made me a fearless man, and with me already being targeted, it's like what I got to lose. I'm already a target, so I'm gonna speak out. They gonna have to kill me like they did my role model Malcolm X, like they did Dr. King. You know, they gonna have to kill me. This what it is, you know, and they know that. So like, come on with it, you know, whatever come with this. If they put a gun in my face right now, I'm gonna go out smiling like Malcolm X did because I know, like even if I die right now, I got books out. My message
Mhm.
gonna live forever, and
Mhm.
my courage is gonna be passed on to other generations, just like Malcolm X courage and Tupac courage. You know what I'm saying? Was passed down to me. That's why I feel how I feel, and I'm not afraid to speak up because a great man like them. And if they kill me now, it's somebody out there who gonna read my books and gonna see this interview and they gonna say, damn, he was a stand-up guy. So I'm not gonna fold either because I wanna be like him or I wanna be like Malcolm X or Tupac or any of our black leaders. You know, I don't I don't want nobody to be like me. I'd rather they look up to Malcolm X because I feel like Malcolm X was greater than me, uh, more disciplined than I am. I'd rather they look up to Jesus because Jesus was greater than me, more disciplined than me. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to take the torch and carry it as long as I'm here. That's all.
So, what's next for you?
Uh, well, I'm gonna be doing a tour and a free R. Kelly tour for my new single. Uh, I'm gonna be dropping a few albums. I got two books that's already out. The Holy Trap Scriptures and Value of the Vagina. I'm working on my third book, which I just got a major deal offer for. So that's what I'm on, and I'm bringing people together. You know, in every city and state. You know, if you want to join the movement, I'm gonna make sure it's beneficial to you. If you got you know some of the best clubs or venues I can perform at or do a book event or a concert at, you know, I'm gonna make sure you and I both eat off of the ticket sales and the revenue that's generated, and I'm doing that in every city and state. You know, it's been a lot of people reaching out to me and you know, putting these ideas in my head and saying, look, we want you to lead and we gonna back you. You know, you're outspoken, you articulate, you courageous, and we want to support you. So that's what I'm doing. You know, I got people in New York already, people in Chicago, people in Houston, people in Louisiana, uh, Los Angeles. I don't know if I named, but damn near everywhere. And hopefully you be willing to join me. I mean, even if not, I do have somebody already in North Carolina. Matter of fact, shout out to Tiffany. But yeah, that's what it is. Anybody who you know got integrity, got morals and values, and stand on godly principles, real nigga type principles, real woman principles, are willing to unite with anybody like that. And you know, I got some brilliant ideas where we could just all get money in and keep money circulating in our community, and we need that because this money, you know, people scared to say that they trying to get money because they don't want to be looked at a certain way, but this is how I'm keeping my son out the streets from doing what I had to sell drugs for school clothes and video games when I was my son age. You know what I mean? So, you know, I didn't have parents who was financially stable, and we all need that. We all want to put our kids through the best schools. We all want to be able to take care of our mothers and fathers and our girlfriends or dependents. You know, we we want to have fun. We want to enjoy life. We want to look good, feel good. So we got to get money. You know what I mean? And
Right.
that's what I'm on right now. If I was a millionaire or a billionaire right now, I could do way more for R. Kelly and the other hundreds of thousands of black inmates that's locked up. So that's what it is.
So I want you to tell the folks where we could find both of your books, The Value of the Vagina and The Holy Trap.
Well, lately, see, I've been noticing the value of the vagina and the Holy Trap scriptures is available everywhere books are sold, including Barnes and Noble and Amazon. But just how, for example, R. Kelly was getting fucked over so much with his creativity that he didn't have no money unless he went on tour. He wasn't getting none of his royalties. And I'm seeing this go on with me with my book royalties. Like I'm barely getting paid. So lately, you know, luckily and by the grace of God, I was wise enough to keep ownership of my rights. So I have the rights to discontinue my books from them, and I'm eventually gonna do that because lately I've been receiving money directly to put behind my campaign. So I've been having people cash at me if you could, I could send you a flyer. I think I posted on my page, but the cash app is Fund God's Plan. FundGodsplan. Fund God's Plan. You'll see my name pop up, Ronnie Bo. And when if anybody want to purchase, when it say for on the cash app, just put like your email. So as soon as I get it, I can email you the book right away.
Okay.
Or if you want, if you don't want, if you rather go to Barnes and Noble route or Amazon, that's cool too. But I just been doing it this way because I feel like they fucking me over financially. It's like slavery, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
they still find a way to enslave our people off our creativity and all that. And like Prince, before they killed him, he tattooed slave on his face because of that. So I'm just trying to, you know, break the psychological and financial chains of slavery that they got on us and just receive my money for my hard work directly. That's all.
If Kels or his peoples could see this interview right now, what would be your main message to him right now in this particular time?
Well, like I said in the song, they tried to frame my nigga as a little girl rapist. I told him, hold your head high, you still the world's greatest. That's my message. He's still the world's greatest musician ever. And I want him to know it's people like me, hopefully people like you. And I'm even winning supporters who once looked at him like a pedophile. I'm winning them over to say, free R. Kelly, you know what I mean? So I want them to know it's people like me that's out here campaigning for him. And Jennifer Bonjean, she doing her job, and just how she got Bill Cosby out, she gonna get him out. And when he get out, it's gonna, instead of people looking at him like he a pedophile and a monster, they gonna look at him like he's the world's greatest again.
So I want you to take this time to give any mentions or shout outs to anybody shout out.
Shout out to my son Ronnie Bo Jr. Shout out to my homeboy Pluck, Garfield Pluck. Shout out to Juice Talk TV. All the platforms who've been supporting me. Infamous Sylvia, Prima Donna, uh, everybody who been supporting me. Lashonda and your sister Portia, all Viral Assets Media, the Lionel B Show, my boy Doggy Diamonds. I just appreciate all the love and support. Y'all, even y'all put me in a position to where I don't have to think about risking my freedom to sell drugs no more, because now I could do what I feel like God put me here to do, and that's deliver His message to our people through me. Through my books, through these interviews. I feel like God have a purpose for me. He want me to communicate a certain message to y'all, to my people, to our culture, and I'm able to do that now. So I appreciate all y'all.
Well, we want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to just sit down and talk with us about your experience. And we want to also thank you for being so honest about your incarceration and your situation. And, may God continue to bless you on your journey. And we're looking forward to seeing more from you. So, guys, I want to thank you for tuning in. Let me just say, this has been an eye opener for not just myself, but I'm sure a lot of other people that kind of painted, R. Kelly as a pedophile or whatever your thoughts about him was. I do believe that what you're saying is true and honest, because we have seen it before. We've seen it with Cosby. We've seen it with Michael. We've seen it with Prince. I mean, there's too many to name. So I do believe this is something that needs to be put out to the masses, and especially our people, because we have a hard time of supporting our own and backing our own. So thank you for coming up here and shedding some light on the situation.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate you. Anytime, I'm here. Just just hit me. I'm never gonna act like I'm no bigger or smaller than nobody. I'm here, so just whenever, just hit me up, and I appreciate you.
No worries. So we'll be back with another episode. Next episode will probably be coming live from New Jersey, y'all. So y'all tune in for that. I'm Jazzy J, and also shout out to DJ Silk in the comments. Shout out to him. We'll see y'all next time. Y'all have a good night.